Now, going into today's budget, the Canadian Labour Congress did have their own ask of the federal government. And for her thoughts on what was tabled today, we did speak with Bea Bruske of the CLC.
So the CLC had a list of asks and wants going into this budget. It doesn't seem to be that the government listened to your call.
Well, I think they listened to some parts of our call, but there are some really tangible things that are missing for us. And so while we were happy to see the investments in housing, and we desperately need that in Canada, we wanted to see more focus and more intent investments in things like nonprofit housing, transitional housing, co-op housing. Rent caps would have been a great idea, right? Folks that are having a hard time making ends meet right now need some tangible solutions, and that would have been one way to address a housing challenge for the average person.
But even when you look at the housing, we're talking about projects that will have an impact in terms of moving in down the road, not tomorrow. How problematic is that?
It's hugely problematic because people need solutions now, and they're wanting solutions now. And so that is a real big challenge for us. You know, the other thing that we're thinking about is things like affordability. Workers tell us all the time that they're having a harder and harder time making ends meet. This would have been a really good opportunity for a windfall tax, for example, on corporations, right? Giant grocery retailers, giant oil and gas companies, we needed those funds to reinvest into our social safety net and into the kinds of services that Canadians need right now, and we think that that's a missed opportunity.
They have, however, introduced a new capital gains tax, have talked about taxing as well, stock buybacks, if you will, from individual corporations. What's your reaction to that?
We think they could have done more at this moment in time in order to actually get the funds that we need to get some of the long list of priorities off the ground. We were deeply disappointed to see no change in employment insurance. We know that workers are relying on our social safety net to be there when they need it. Less than 2 out of 5 workers right now can actually qualify for EI when and where they need it. That is a huge problem. We have not overhauled that system since 1996. And I don't know about you, but 1996 was a long time ago. I had a pager in my pocket, not a cell phone. Workers, we didn't have gig workers the same way that we do now. We didn't have as many part-time workers as we do right now. These workers need solutions, and they need us to be there for them to be able to make sure that they can get the benefits that they need when they need it. We also need, very importantly, a health human resource strategy in our healthcare system. It was really heartened to see a long-term care strategy being advanced by this particular budget, but we need some actual money tied to it so that we can make sure that we have healthcare workers that are working in long-term care, making a minimum $25 an hour, not just saying that we're going to have a strategy that we're going to look at. We need real solutions now to actually make a difference.
Does it worry you when they talk about a strategy to look at? We are just about a year away from the next federal election, and it may not be this government that sits in Ottawa a couple of years down the road.
It worries me greatly because the needs are right now. You know, healthcare is in a crisis situation right now. We need a national nursing strategy. We need to make sure that foreign credentials are recognized. I was happy to see some support in this budget for foreign credential recognition so that we can make that progress move a little bit faster. I was happy to see things like a red dress alert system and money being allocated to that, right, which is a human rights issue that we've been long championing. But we needed more tangible wins for workers, and we haven't seen the tangible wins that we really need in this budget.
You know, it's interesting because you did mention EI, and instead of shoring up EI, reforming EI, what this government document talks a lot about is economic growth and the improving economic picture. How do you convince a government that looks at improving numbers that EI is a priority or should raise a red flag right now?
So people aren't just data points in an economic picture. People are people that we need to be looking after right at this moment in time. And right now, we are in an affordability crunch. We are in a housing crunch. When I talk to workers all across this country, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what kind of work they do, they all tell me the same thing. Can I afford to renew my mortgage? We need to have lower interest rates. Can I make sure that my kids will have a good chance of going to post-secondary training? Is there tuition relief? No. You know, is there housing relief that's immediate? No. And those are really critical issues that folks are looking for, and they're looking for solutions right now.
So where does that leave you? Where does that leave the CLC?
We're going to continue fighting and making sure that we talk to all levels of government, right, in terms of finding solutions that we need. There's some nuggets in this budget that are positive. Of course, I don't want to say it's all negative, like the electric vehicle incentive, sorry, yes, thank you, as well as some of the pieces that go with the Sustainable Jobs Act. Those are all positive things, and we're very happy about those things. They're tied to labor, issues. They're tied to good union wages. They're tied to apprenticeship opportunities. Those are positives, but we needed more tangible support for workers that are struggling right at this moment in time.
Bea Bruske, thank you for the time.
Thank you.